So what I'm going to try to do is to deliver some concentrated value here. I want to make sure that anytime people give me their time, that I make it valuable for them to do so. So when you leave today, hopefully something has changed, or at least when you leave this session, something has changed. You can go back to your respective organizations later in the week and bring this knowledge with you. So we are going to discuss the current state of the art from a technology standpoint, and this is around analytics and business intelligence. What does the current state of the art look like? I want to talk about best practices. How are these technologies being applied? How are they being leveraged? And how can you potentially use them yourselves? Emerging innovations. So we'll get into sort of what's nascent and like in the laboratory stage right now, and then we'll look ahead as to what can come about if these technologies actually catch traction. Now, my goal with this presentation is to equip you with the knowledge so that you can demand more, really. If you have an internal build at your organization, or you're being supported by an analytics vendor, whatever that situation is, I want to make sure that you're aware of what the state of the art is so that you can make demands and get the best of what's available. If you have internal teams, take these ideas back. I actually have a lot of handouts. This whole deck will be available to you. I have a link at the end where you can actually get into the learning library that we've created. All these resources are platform agnostic, meaning it's not about the solutions that VisiQuate creates. It's about leveraging data analytics to improve the yield of a revenue cycle, no matter what tools you use. Okay, so the first thing is the current state of the art. What is the value behind analytics in the current day? What can we expect from analytics? If you're looking at analytics as a cost center or a sort of a necessary evil within your organization, or something that just supplies you with reporting, you're missing a lot of value that analytics can provide you. Here's some of the examples here, right? Identify improvement opportunities, and I'm going to show you concrete ways to get all these things done. Avoiding preventable losses. I'll show you a way to identify where leakage is taking place inside your organization, where you've got patients who are coming in for procedures that should have follow-ups, but they're not inside your network for follow-up. How do you find those people? We can use analytics to do that. Optimize FTE output. I'm going to show you how to make sure that the staff time that gets spent on adjudicating accounts or managing follow-up for denials is optimized. How do you make sure that their touches are yielding the results that you need? I'm going to show you how to reduce cost to collect and overall increase net patient revenue. Okay, the first thing is uniting data across your entire enterprise. Right now, there's still a lot of organizations who are in a siloed situation, meaning they have data around the different processes of revenue cycle management siloed, and they can't report across them. The current state of the art is to have what's called a longitudinal patient record. This means that everything that's happening on a patient account, from pre-service and scheduling and authorizations and eligibility all the way through to auditing, meaning even beyond when you've closed that account to zero balance or however you're doing that, everything is tied into a longitudinal record, which necessarily means that you have the data from every aspect of your revenue cycle united into a single reporting source, joined into a single data lake so that reporting can happen across the entire experience of an account. So you've tied in your age trial balance, your charges, your transactions. You've got your 837, 835, 270, 271, anything that's coming in from vendors who might be doing things like automated claim statusing. All the information that can possibly exist on every account in your system united into a single source. The names of the databases here on the left, and then the view that we have on the right is an example of what we call a patient card view. That's actually the summary patient card view. What does that mean? That means that depending on my role, I need to have a view of the account that quickly gets me the information that I need. So if I'm managing credit balances, I might need different information than somebody who's handling denials. So you want to make sure that the views that are being fed to the people in your organization contain just what they need, so they're not scrolling all the way to Kansas. I say that in California, it doesn't mean as much out here. So they're not scrolling all the way off to the right in a big spreadsheet to get the information that they need. I want it in a single view. If you can join up that single view with what we call an action panel, meaning these are the pull downs and text fields that you need in order to move an account forward from a workflow standpoint, even better. And again, these are examples of things that you should be expecting from the analytics solutions that you have, whether you're working with an in-house built solution or a vendor. Know what is state of the art and know what to demand. Next, BI basics. Yes, self-service business insights. This means that the people in your organization who should reasonably have access to the data that exists can get it for themselves. That the reporting solution that you have is user-friendly enough that even executive levels, VP and C-suite, can go into that, log into that solution, and either have dashboards that are pre-baked for them or reporting that is so drag and drop simple that they can build what they need. We want to decrease the burden on analysts, so there's no bottleneck to getting the information that you need. And analysts can focus on more complicated undertakings that require deep statistics or even machine learning approaches to find the systemic issues that exist inside your organization. Free up the analytics time by making these mundane routine tasks, these regular requests that come from the executive level, from the VP level, from the director level, make it self-serve. Number 2, automated reporting. What you want to do if you have a reporting situation that occurs on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, a year-end basis, is build this report once. And then have an ETL process, a nightly data refresh process that feeds the information into that report and automatically updates it with whatever's new. So if you want to see your denials by payer over $5,000 where the reason code is any of the following reason codes, set that report up once. And then make sure it's being subscribed to by the right individuals in your organization. Automated reporting, I mean, you could call it state of the art, but it's been around for a while. But if you still have people who are doing the cut and paste out of spread marts into spreadsheets because this data source and that data source, well, then the issue there is before this slide. It's that you haven't joined the data. A modern sort of state-of-the-art system has all the data joined. So you don't need to worry about that cut and paste process anymore because that's not a process that you can reasonably expect an executive to undertake. And 3 is automated alerting. Better than having reports automatically fed to the people in your organization who need them is to have the reports watched by a computer so that when something gets out of threshold, either exceeds a high or a low amount, or has created an anomaly, or is even trending so that you're going to miss a month-end number, you want that alert to fire automatically to the appropriate stakeholders. So I can push a dozen reports to everybody in my organization every day, but now they have the problem of consuming those reports. If instead what I do is make sure that they are only made aware of things that require attention and action, then you've really saved some time. 3 examples of things that you should be demanding from the analytics inside your organization. Baked-in subject matter expertise is also state-of-the-art. So the dashboards reflect that there's subject matter expertise there. They've organized the KPIs according to what is important by department, right? And 2, standard alert bundles, so that out of the box, you don't have to design or build the alerts on top of your reporting. They're built in because subject matter expertise has done so relative to the vendor that provides it. So if you're using ClickView or if you're using Tableau or some other visualization tool, hey, that's great. You want to make sure that you have subject matter expertise baked in so that when something is firing out of a threshold or out of bounds, that you are being alerted. Elsewise, you have to build those things, right? You can ask for the analytics department or the IT department of your organization to set things up. Bring the IT department and the intelligence together so that they know what you're looking for and can automate it. The ability to automate exists in almost every system. You just have to take advantage of it by creating awareness. Standard reporting packages, sure. If you've decided that you want to create reporting on, let's say, 837, 835, there should be an absolutely standard set of reports that comes with that. I want to see all of my denials by payer. I want to see all my denials broken down by reason code. I want to see all my denials according to every facility in my organization, and I want to be able to slice and dice it so that I'm in certain balance thresholds. I want to be able to slice and dice it for reason codes. I want to have the reason codes, all the carks and rarks, tied to a roll-up of overall reasons so that I can actually divide my denials inventory by root cause. Then I want to split root cause by facility so I can see which facilities have anomalous amounts of denials occurring for specific causes. Now you're identifying systemic problems inside your organization. Advanced leading and lagging performance indicators, for those of you who are sitting in front of the little piles of cards, those are examples of leading and lagging indicators. I have some more up here for you guys in the back. You can come and get them. Elsewise, at the end, I will give you a link to our learning library, which has all of these resources in it. Oh, I missed one, which was predictive. Yeah. You do want to have analytics that can tell you when you're trending to miss a month-end number. Even in the end of week 1, you can see if you're about to head in a direction that's going to cause you to miss. Rather than be at the end of the month, get a month-end report and then notice, oh, geez, I'm out. I missed my target. Let's spot those misses before they actually materialize. All right, I want to talk about advanced visualizations. These are visualizations that help to identify anomalies and outliers in your data and spot problems or issues, just because the visualization that was chosen helps to facilitate those insights. This first one here, this is called a team member heat map. A team member heat map does two things. You can see all the members of a team, and I'm probably going to continue to follow the thread of denials as my example case because it goes across all these examples, or most of them. Here I'm tracking certain things, right? I can see the average days in denied disposition, the average touches per account while denied, and the overturn rate. Tracking those, trending those over time is also very valuable. But if I want a present day sense of the health of my denials management organization, those are three sort of top indicators. An example of subject matter expertise baked into your analytics. Another thing to demand. What is this heat map and what does it represent? Two things you can see. Every box has a size. Every box has a color. The color tells you how close you are to your target, right? That could be the target, any one of these here. Any one of these could be your target, the overturn rate. Productivity overall is a roll-up of these three, let's say. You could be looking at time and attendance. So if you have people using Chronos to track their time at their desk, you can bring time and attendance into a scoring system like this. Again, all the data across your organization into a single reporting solution. And then you could take time and attendance and smash that up against the total number of touches it takes and smash that up against the accounts so that you can see by procedure which denials take more touches and how much time does a person have to spend in order to effectively adjudicate those denials. Now I can effectively compare, let's say, Sally and Joe inside my denials follow-up organization. Instead of demanding the same performance in terms of denials overturned from Joe than I do from Sally, because Sally's handling the big uglies from Aetna and Joe's got the super easies from Blue Cross Blue Shield. Having this amount of data makes it possible for you to effectively track the performance of the people inside your organization, set goals, and even for the organizations that allow it, create performance-based incentives and compensation. So I can see two things, like I said, color and size. Size tells me how long that person has been that color. So a big red box, I immediately can see I have a problem. A small red box means that a problem has occurred very recently. So with a visualization like this, in a second, I can see where my problems are and where my top performers are. This is a heat map visualization. This is the departmental flow tracker. It's a version of a heat map, but applied to a different case. This is volume in versus volume worked, so that I can tell if any department of mine is going to fall behind. You've got coding, you've got cash posting. A lot of departments that end up in what we call month-end coding parties, where you're in the scramble to catch up. How do I avoid my month-end coding party? Something like this. So if I'm at the 19th day of the month, and I can see that I've got 2 red blocks, I'm headed for a month-end coding party. What can I do at this point? Unless you're tracking the flow in and flow out of work into any department of your organization, you won't know that at month-end you're falling behind. This allows me to see across all my departments. You probably can't read them. Revenue integrity, D&FB, billing management, AR management, cash posting, customer service, contract management. Every one of these are departments in the revenue cycle. And every one of these has a flow in and a flow out. If you're falling behind, you're going to have to deal with overtime. You're going to have to deal with weekends, or however it is that you manage your month-end coding party. This is called a Sankey diagram. A Sankey diagram tracks the flow of things through an organization. In this case, I'm tracking accounts through my organization. On the far left, that's the total. That's what's been billed. On the second, that's financial class. So I'm breaking down the flow of the accounts through my organization. Then I'm moving over here to propensity to pay. How likely am I to get paid on these accounts? Breaking that out. And then ultimately to the final destination, where I can see that it's paid, it's been moved to bad debt, posted to charity, it's Medicaid, or I've moved it to exchange. I could quickly see how things are flowing through my organization with the Sankey diagram. These diagrams and visualizations like them are available in almost every visualization tool you'd want to use. It's knowing their application and requesting them because they provide you to gain insights that you wouldn't have without them. Yes, you can pour through spreadsheets and find these things. Doesn't really sound like fun. Here's one, underpayments by payer. This is a sort of a scatter plot visualization. I'll just briefly explain this, right? So I can see how likely it is that I'm going to get paid, or how likely it is that I'm going to get an underpayment. The size of the bubble represents the number of accounts inside, and then I have them tiered by account balance brackets. So you can kind of just look at a chart like this and see, oh, okay. I can see that Medicare is concentrated up towards the top, and I can see that Anthem and my MMO is a little bit more towards the higher percentage of underpayment. Boom, see that really quickly with a visualization like this. And then risk versus opportunity, where you have the information to identify risk to be denied, which can be identified if you're using the proper algorithms, right? So what do? We smash up the DRG, the CPT, patient type, the balance range, the payer, and as many factors as you want to come up with a risk score for any account even before it's billed to identify if it's likely to be denied. This can be done by looking backwards at about 2 years of data. Machine learning has the capacity to identify the factors that people cannot and raise them to your attention so that you can properly intervene, whether that's before they actually get billed or even after they get billed, so that you can accelerate the recovery and speed up your cash. So I have risk to be denied, that's on the bottom, and then opportunity score. What is opportunity score? Again, looking back at 2 years of history inside your organization, if you have the analytics capability, you can determine how likely it is that your staff can overturn any specific denial, given its payer, given its reason code, given its DRG and its balance, etc. How likely can my staff overturn this denial? Where do I want to focus in a situation like this? I want to focus right up here, this upper right quadrant, where I have the highest opportunity score and the highest risk to be denied. Move those through your system first, and now you're optimizing the touches that your staff puts into the accounts. This is a great one here. Process mining. For every account in the system, which you can see, these are the accounts going down on the left side, I can see by timeline when every event occurred for these accounts. Were they denied? Were they paid? Did the status change? Did it get reassigned to somebody inside my organization? Was there a credit balance? Was there an adjustment? All of these steps along the way, you can see what's happening here. You want to view this chart by department, by service line. You want to view this chart by facility, by position. Compare them in those ways and find the failures inside your organization and work towards optimization. All right. How do we do that? For those that are sitting in the right spaces, we do have some things in front. Analytics-driven work listing. Sort of the old way, right? Assignment, you're doing an alpha split, you're doing a balance split. You're moving accounts into the staff work queues according to very simple breakdowns in that way. But we've already talked about other ways using analytics that you can more finely slice and dice everything that's in your inventory, using tools like opportunity scoring. Dispositional group, meaning I know what disposition this account is relative to getting paid or not getting paid and its actual status given the response that I got in the remittance from the payer. I want to group them. I want to group them by payer, by opportunity, by disposition, so that when I have a staff member either get on the phone, log into a website, send an email, or produce a fax, that they're handling multiple accounts at once. And they're handling like accounts throughout the day. So that I'm not asking them to switch to different processes and this and that kind of thing, right? So that they've already got that appeal form for Cigna. So that they already have the facts that they need in order to create an overturn, right? So we have the ability with proper analytics to feed the workflows in order to optimize the yield of my FTEs. Very powerful, but only if you're asking for it. Right? All the data sources can provide you with extra dimensions by which to slice and dice the inventory that you're assigning to that staff. Slice it any way you want as long as the data's there, and then move it into those work queues in order to optimize the outcomes. Workforce performance tracking. I was talking earlier about bringing in Chronos. Well, here you go. I've got time and attendance over here on the left, tracking regular hours, productive hours, overtime hours, productivity percentage, early ins, early outs, however you want to track that. Bring that information in and have a look at it. This is how you create accountability inside your organization. Analytics is enormously powerful. It goes so far beyond just creating regular reports and dashboards. You can drive an organization with analytics. The middle column, productivity, still sticking with the example of denials, right? There they are again. Average days in denied disposition, average touches to resolve, and the overturn rate. This is an individual. This is Jacqueline Birch. She's inside my organization, and I can see trending over time how her performance has changed right here. I can see her time and attendance score rolled up from all the metrics that I mentioned earlier. There's her productivity, and here's work quality right there. How do you track work quality? Use your analytics to pick out random samples of an employee's work that creates work lists for their supervisors to review and score. Now you have scoring as your data, right? So whether you're scoring them 1 to 5 or pass-fail or in a letter system or 1 out of 100, you have data that helps you understand how effective your staff is. You can spot who's really good at handling claims from Aetna. Figure out what it is that they're doing and duplicate that across your organization if that's how you want to manage that work. HFM Moneyball, the way it gets done. So, playbooks, that's this stack right here. So we have a learning library of resources that have been created by our subject matter experts that, again, is platform agnostic. If you have analytics, you should be able to run these plays. These are tactics, best practices, executables for, these guys don't get them because they already have them. Tactics and best practices for leveraging analytics to get more yield out of a revenue cycle. There's 10 here, but we have many more. The playbook is online. I'm giving you examples here. We're going to talk through one, just to sort of give you a sense of how this works. There you go. You can take a look at, inside this packet, there's a play that I want to just highlight briefly for you. Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this is where you have patients incorrectly identified as self-pay. I'm sorry I don't have more than I'm about to run out here. Patients incorrectly identified as self-pay. What does that mean? All right, so I have a number of patients inside my system. Certainly there's going to be some that are designated as self-pay, but some of them, within the last, you can say how long this would be, 6 weeks, 3 months, 6 months, within some given time period that you can define, we're actually inside your system, but covered. So the likelihood is that the majority of the patients who are currently in your system and designated as self-pay, but within some specified time period actually had coverage, the likelihood is that they have coverage. So what do? You use, as you can see in the action steps inside this play, use the analytics to create a list. Show me where I have patients that are designated as self-pay, but within, you can define the time period, some specified period of time, were actually covered by insurance. Next thing, turn that list into a work list. Hand it to somebody. Look at these accounts. Tell me if there is coverage. Let's rebuild this, because if you rebuild commercial versus self-pay, you're going to get paid more often and paid more. This is an example of leveraging analytics to drive improvement in your revenue cycle. These are also on the table for some of you folks. Leading indicators, actually a few stacks up here on this table. Examples of indicators you can use to tell you when you're going to end up where you don't want to be. You have indicators that tell you where you were in the past, but there are indicators that can tell you where you're heading. Leading indicators is the current state of the art. Leverage them, and I have examples, like maybe 8 or so examples of them on these tables. You can see what they are. It takes too much time to go through them. They're all available in the library. I encourage you to look at them. Drive your organization with these indicators so that you're taking advantage of your data. Your data is a massive asset. Having the tools to mine that asset is the key. I can identify for any provider in this room if you are being treated poorly by payers relative to your peers. That'd be good information to have if you want to renegotiate your contracts, right? I can also tell you, even within your organization, if your organization is large and you've rolled up some other hospitals recently, you might have facilities that are being paid different amounts for the same CPT. Okay, now what you should do is you should take advantage of the horsepower of your larger organization to renegotiate those contracts so that every facility is being paid at the best level. Really easy way to identify the magnitude of that opportunity. Look across your facilities, take a sampling of CPTs and identify where any one of your facilities is being paid less. Then multiply the number of times that procedure has occurred. That's significant stuff. Analytics can find these things. I think that you guys probably have this on your tables now. Oh, no, it's right here. I'll hand this out as well. So you probably have heard about the business analytics maturity curve, right? The idea that with the proper analytics and leveraging them in proper ways, that you can move up this sort of hierarchy. Oh, almost, I'll give you two. Yes, move up this hierarchy where you're going from basic data analysis, like what happened yesterday, and then moving up to why did it happen yesterday, and then what is happening now, and then what will happen tomorrow, how do we impact what will happen tomorrow, and then make sure that you've really infused intelligence, business intelligence, up to every level of your organization. Oh yeah, cool, thanks. You can see sort of the stages, but that's sort of nebulous, really. That sounds great. Hey, that sounds great. This chart here is designed, actually I'll need one myself. No. I forgot that. This chart here is designed to help you really make it concrete by speaking to the different areas of business intelligence maturity relative to specific departments inside the revenue cycle. I'll just walk through one example. Patient access. At level 1, I can see that yesterday's first pass denial rate was 30% of claims. That's the kind of intelligence you get at level 1, okay? Level 2, investigative analysis gives me, I can see that the majority of denials are related to authorization and eligibility issues. All right, so I've been able to investigate the denials that are showing up. Then, today we have X% of pre-authorizations obtained prior to service, right? So what's happening now? I can see ahead, I can see basically upstream what is coming down the pipe, right? So looking at admissions right now, this is the information I have. Today we have X% of pre-authorizations obtained prior to service. Let's say whatever percent that is for your organization, that's the kind of intelligence I'm talking about, moving downstream. So you've broken down the silo. Here I am, I'm in revenue cycle, I'm in collections, and now I have access to what's happening upstream today so that I can see it coming and we can talk about upstream process changes. The next one, predictive analytics. Because we are currently running a low percentage of pre-authorizations prior to service, we can expect X% higher rates of first pass denials related to authorizations in the next 90 days. Of course you can. You saw it upstream. This has become predictive for you. Now, prescriptive. I get work queues of accounts that have been identified as high opportunity. We talked about what high opportunity means. And are missing pre-auth so that they can be addressed before services are performed. Great. I'm intervening at the point where it's most effective and using analytics to do so. What is this going to do? This is going to prevent this thing becoming a denial downstream. Yeah, you might get paid eventually on this if you adjudicate that denial correctly, but you are avoiding the retouch. You're avoiding the rework and all the hassle of a denial and the delay of cash. Then finally, patient access staff. The patient access staff. I've got visibility here at the revenue cycle, and now I want to push that upstream. The patient access staff gets visibility into the downstream impact of low authorization percentages, along with daily reporting of patient access KPIs to help mitigate this issue in the long run. This is how you make the business intelligence maturity curve understandable, its value clear throughout your organization. This obviously can be broken down to any area of the revenue cycle. I'm just giving you examples of how we do this. To the next. Here we go, looking ahead. This is the fun stuff. I love this, I love this. Okay, this is actually not a revenue cycle visualization, but it's very exciting to me because it functions across a lot of dimensions. So this is by a group called Gapminder. It's a Swedish foundation. They call themselves a fact tank, not a think tank. Super clever. And what's cool about this, like I said, it's multidimensional. This visualization covers life expectancy, income, location, region, population size, and time. How the heck does it do that? And first, why is this important to people in revenue cycle? I'm going to press play on this in a second, because this thing actually moves. This is an animated visualization. And by animating it, you can learn very valuable things. So the first thing that I mentioned is that there's a lot of dimensions in here, okay? So you can see, we know X and Y axis. Life expectancy on the Y, income. Okay, I get that. That makes sense. What else do I have here? I've got these bubbles. The bubbles have sizes. The sizes represent population size, okay? And each individual bubble is tied to a country, and countries are tied to regions. I can learn a lot of things just by looking at this. So the year 2015, I can kind of see what's going on here. But better still is to make this go through time. And you're going to see world wars take place. That'll be obvious when that happens. And you can see the populations changing and sort of moving up. Life expectancy moving up over time. You can't see this by looking at one static chart. Boom, that was a world war. This tells a whole story, right? And this is on China. This is just now tracking China kind of through it. Very interesting. This really tells you something when you watch it over time. Imagine watching your denial rates for specific DRGs or reason codes rolled up by payer, right? This would be an example of seeing things take place over time. How's my reimbursement or adjustments going given specific procedures or service lines inside my organization? Viewing it over time. Yeah, you could do this in like a flip book with a whole bunch of charts or something, but being able to animate the data inside your organization is very powerful because you get to see things that you can't notice when you're looking at a static images. This is coming for revenue cycle analytics. I'm very excited about that. What else is coming? Ooh, machine learning. Machine learning can do all kinds of things, right? Machine learning basically means look at a massive data set of information, right? And then find out where things stand out or create things or affect things down the road such that X, Y, Z happens, right? What causes this to happen? Look back here and tell me what factors do these accounts have in common such that this was the outcome. Identifying missing charges is very easy to do. We're going to look at all of the accounts, let's say, in a 2-year history, and find out with these procedures what charges should be here, and create a probability score that essentially says, you know what? This charge should be here given 2 years of data inside your system, and yet it's not. Do you want to take a closer look at this account? If that looks like a waste of time, you tell the machine, that was a waste of my time because that had a real reason for that. And the machine will go, okay, that was interesting to know, and I'll try again, right? So you're letting the machine identify, based on the history of, let's say, hundreds of thousands of accounts, when is a charge missing, so that that can be brought to your attention and possibly rebuild. Spot claims likely to be denied. We already talked about how to get that done, right? Same thing. We're looking back across the history. What elements inside the account file are in common when it gets denied according to this payer, according to this reason code, according to this balance, according to this procedure, etc. Machine learning can identify those things. Segmenting denials based on performance, right? We talked about this. This is your organization succeeding in the overturn of denials. Spot optimal pathways. This is great. We looked at a chart a minute ago that showed over time the different things happening to each account, right? Like when did this occur? When did this account go into DNFB? Was there an adjustment that happened to this account, the payments, etc.? Did this account get assigned to this person? What appeal letter did this person use? How soon did they use it? What did they say in that appeal letter? Can you find what creates optimal outcomes inside your organization by process mining? Yes, yes you can. And machine learning can do the same thing. Look at these pathways, how things got assigned, when assignments got changed. If I had a credit balance that had to get approved in the following way, through the following hierarchy of individuals, which path worked? Show me the paths that work, and let me repeat them across every aspect of my organization. Oh yeah, root cause sleuthing. Pretty easy stuff here, actually. You're using roll-ups. This is where subject matter expertise combines with analytics to make something more powerful. Use roll-ups of all your CARC and RARC codes to a hierarchy of reason codes, right? These are the overall reason codes that you're dealing with. This is author eligibility. There's a number of codes that roll up there, right? This is, oh God, there's so many, so many reason codes. You can decide how you want to roll up the reason codes in your organization. Analytics automation. This is a vision of the future. For those who are actually sitting in the rows where there's t-shirts, this is an example of analytics automation. This is Anna. Having the ability to ask for what you want, right? Show me all the denials from Blue Cross Blue Shield in the last 3 months from facility X, where the denial balance is between Y and Z, and the reason code is any one of the following 5. And it will give you that. That is automation. Versus saying the exact same sentence to somebody who's sitting in an analytics cube, right, who can get that done for you. Automating that response reduces the burden on this individual so that they can take advantage of powerful things that analytics can do, like machine learning. Get these repetitive processes off of these staff members so that they can go to work doing very meaningful things. Consulting automation. What if you took the intelligence of something like this playbook and you put it into an automated system that can identify when you're missing targets or thresholds you have too many credit balances, you're getting too many denials, you've got other things, you've got cash posting issues, or you're about to head to a month-end coding party. What if these plays were populated into a library that an intelligence like that could leverage? Not only recommend what you should be looking at from a play standpoint, but help you facilitate the steps. Here is the report associated with this. I have found the patients inside your system that are currently marked as self-pay but have been covered by insurance in the prior 3 months. Here's the list. Would you like me to send this to Susan? That'd be cool. Digital assistants, right. So we're getting used to Alexa. We're getting used to Siri. These are fun things, right? You can ask Alexa for the sports scores or the movie times or the weather. What if you could ask to send a report to a supervisor? What if you could ask to set an alert on a specific amount inside your system? Digital assistants and this kind of automated interaction, these are all coming to healthcare financial management and revenue cycle. Some of them are here now. Conversational UIs. What is that? Well, basically, we are talking about Alexa or Siri in the revenue cycle. Here's examples of the kinds of things that you can ask. And I do mean today. Right now, solutions like this that are available in the revenue cycle are text-based. You can't actually speak for the things that you want. But by the middle of this year, June, by the annual conference, you will be able to speak to make these requests. The solution that our organization uses for this is called Anna. And the position for Anna inside the workflow is, as you can see here, right? You've got report consumers, you have analysts, you have a staff member from VisiQuate sitting in between. If Anna can supply the answer, she will. If the answer that Anna supplies is designated by the person who's receiving it as not the one I was looking for, Anna connects that person to the analyst inside the organization, or VisiQuate's analyst would be another example, right? And then she watches what goes back. Oh, that's what you wanted. That's learning, right? Learning how to fulfill the requests that you could not fulfill, that's what an artificial intelligence could do. Marketplace. This is powerful. Imagine if you had data united across a multitude of enterprise-level organizations such that you could see the performance of those organizations or the vendors that they use for collecting on certain segments of AR. What would that really mean? That would mean that for any one organization, I would have the ability to tell you how to optimize the assignment of the accounts in your system between your internal staff and external vendors, A, B, C, D, whoever, in order to get the best outcome. Because I can see how they perform, not on the vendor's data, on the provider's data. So an organization that has access to the data of hundreds or thousands of hospitals is in a position to actually be able to tell you how to optimize your assignments. I can see how your internal team is performing because you're giving me that data. You're giving me your ATB or you're giving me your 837, 835. I know how vendor A performs on that slice of accounts. They're really good at those. They're better than you at those. Let's have those assigned over there. Now what we have is the possibility of creating a marketplace. A marketplace where providers who have accounts receivable can put those accounts receivable into basically a collective And then vendors can bid to have them. Oh, I can collect better than you on those. Give me those, right? That kind of thing. Now what you've done is you've created a situation that really optimizes the outcome for both the vendors that have the technologies and the providers, ensuring that each individual account is collected on according to the optimal outcome. So this is, I mentioned this earlier, this is our Data Fanatic Academy. This is where the resources that I've talked about and several more can be found. If you text, you will get like a send me your email, I'll get you into this thing. I'm not trying to market to you people. There's no big spooky happening here. This is, the reason that we're doing this is because we're trying to help, right? Certainly VisiQuate from a business standpoint is interested in establishing itself as a thought leader in this space. That we have the resources to show you how to succeed by leveraging analytics to optimize the yield of a revenue cycle. That would be great if we became the people known for that. Certainly on the West Coast, we already are. But this is it, right? You will find things just like this, the playbooks, the leading lagging indicators, the explanation of the business intelligence maturity curve, all these things are there. If you found this information valuable, please check it out. We continue to populate it. Much of, I don't know if I want to say most of, much of the material that we create for our clients, we publish. It's available to anyone. We're learning best practices all the time. Great new ways to leverage new technologies that have come out, cool visualizations and way to use them. Not just because it's nifty, but because it actually has an impact. What questions do you guys have for me? Stunned. Look at this audience, just stunned. Too much energy for the afternoon? Maybe.
Some of this out in July?
So Anna already exists. Here's another thing that I want to encourage you guys to do. Get involved with vendors for pilots and betas. Most of them don't cost money, except for some resources in your organization. The rate of innovation is like crazy fast right now. And getting access to these things, if you create relationships with technology vendors with like a hand in the air, say, hey, if you guys do something cool, I want to see it. I want to be able to evaluate for the possibility that I could pilot that at my organization. Not only is it beneficial to pilot a great technology inside your organization, but you're also playing a role in evolving that solution to its ultimate potential. It's a really valuable two-way street, right? You get a very cool technology to try out. You're probably going to get chances to post articles in HFMA magazine, financial technology. You know, this is the kind of thing that you create this relationship between providers and vendors where it's not like, oh, I'm just going to quietly walk by the vendor booth so nobody tags me. If we work together, we can do amazing things, right? So I do want to encourage you guys to pursue pilots where you have the opportunity, where you learn about them. We have them running all the time. If you're working with vendors right now, if you have technology providers, get in touch with them. Are you guys piloting anything? Do you guys have a beta we can look at? What's coming? Do I have all of this stuff yet, and why not? Other questions? Super. Yeah.
It can do productivity scoring then, like you said, where these are harder, so we'll score them a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
So that you have apples to apples, basically, because these are really easy, and this person's getting more done, but they're easy.
Exactly right.
So you can do this for me.
Yeah, and again, this is an issue for any kind of analytics solution that you want, right? If you want to score the productivity of an employee, you can say, look, I know what I'm assigning you, so I don't expect you to do more than this number per hour. And now when you get your productivity score at 85, your overall score is 85, and then this person got a score of 85, it's not because, well, actually I should say it this way, if you both got 85, it makes sense, even though you're doing 50 of them and they're doing 100 because you've got the hard ones. And you can take time to tweak and adjust that. Enroll your staff in the process of setting the thresholds, setting the goals, so that people feel like it's fair. Take time to get that done. It's great to enroll the staff. Getting them involved, getting them enrolled helps them to understand how they're being performance tracked. It really removes a lot of opacity. I don't know how I'm being tracked, how I'm being compensated, why I'm doing well, why that person's doing well. This really opens that up. Super valuable. I recommend it. Other questions? Right on. Again, I do encourage you to keep track of what's happening in the space. The innovations are coming at a very fast rate. I really thank you all for coming today. It's valuable to have you with me. I hope you learned something.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.